And we are live. What's good, Charles and Dale saying, welcome, welcome, welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. How y'all feeling out there? Happy Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. So hey man, so we're gonna continue talking about finance, man. We're gonna talk about what's going on with the US economy, man. I don't have all the answers, bro. I really don't know. Um, Recession, no recession. Can you believe their headline numbers? And then there are all these revisions. Man, what's really going on? We're gonna get into that right now. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome, welcome, welcome to I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed, man. How y'all doing out there, man? I hope all is well. Um, yeah, it's crazy over here in the US, man. There's so much going on. Everyone's worried about what's going on in the world. They're looking at what they're looking at, but man, here in America, bro, times are pretty rough, man. This is the beginning of a tough time. I think we're headed for a tough time here. Brother Dinosaur's in the building. What's good, fam? Appreciate you, bro. Good to see you, man. Brother DL, RIP to the 4 officers and 4 injured in the Charlotte shooting, but it looks like more of an ambush as shots were fired before they reached the property. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna really get to the bottom of that one. You know, this is just the first full day of the investigation since that incident occurred, since that shooting happened. And again, we talked about it yesterday real quick. We were on and we read the latest news that was out. I think we read something from CNN, maybe Associated Press, but basically they went to serve a warrant to a fugitive who had a gun. Basically, they're not supposed to do that in this country. They approached him and there were shots fired. They being the law enforcement guys, the federal task force, which is made up of U.S. Marshals and local law enforcement, returned fire according to the article, and they struck the subject who had a weapon. I guess they said it was on the front yard of this particular home. And once they continued to approach the suspect who was down, additional shots were fired from within the home. And it was those shots that scored hits on 8 law enforcement officials. 4 of them were fatal. They're going to have to break it all the way down. It looks that way, bro. I glanced at an article. What was the headline? I glanced at a headline, and the headline said that an AR possibly was used in that shootout, along with a 40 millimeter handgun. But I have a 40 millimeter. I have one sitting here right now. As a matter of fact, this week I was just happened to be carrying my 40 millimeter. There are devices that you can use that you can house your handgun inside this device, and it makes that weapon a shoulder fired weapon. And it even has, the capability of using longer magazines, higher capacity magazines. So if you have one of those style of attachments, you could do a lot of damage from distance with a handgun. So so they're going to have to do this research and see what's what. Having an AR, something shoulder fire makes sense. You could definitely get rounds on target. And those are, big rounds. And then to have a sidearm, man, you got to be real good with a sidearm, and you firing at someone, or they got to be really close. And even at close range, with you got to be able to control your breathing. The people you firing at are firing back at you. I mean, it's just really hard to score those type of hits in that type of environment unless you really train for it. So, bump stocks. I mean, yeah, bro. I mean, now what it is switches, especially with Glocks. There's this thing they call them switches, and it modifies your pistol and makes it full auto. And even firing a bump stock or a bump stock is really hard to fire accurately with that type of mod. And what I'm seeing here with the amount of people hit, Either there was really, really close quarters, or they had something shoulder fire, and they practiced and they knew what they were doing. It's even in the military, like they didn't teach us, even though we had the some of us in the Army, when I was in the Army, we had the capability of going full auto with our M16s. It was full auto, and then it went to 3-round burst, and then went back to full auto, depending on when and what type of weapon you were issued. But just spraying and praying, nah, man. Like, especially if you got something like that, you want to be able to put well aimed rounds on target. It's really hard to do that when you're dealing, firing full auto, and like the bump stock or even the switches. It makes it hard to be accurate. And just with the amount of hits that were scored in this engagement, it just sounds like whoever was in the house, or however many people were in the house firing at law enforcement, they knew what they were doing. And so we're just gonna have to wait until all the information comes out. Flow State is in the building. What's good, fam? Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Flow State, one of the cool brothers I met last night, man. I was on Raging Tomatoes podcast last night, and boy, oh boy, I did not know what I was walking into. I walk in there like, "Hi, everybody," and they were just like, "Whatever, bro. Get some. Get some. Get some." It was fun, bro. It was fun, but you know what? I made some new friends. Bro. Came in there. I came in hot, fresh and fit gear on. Wasn't even thinking about it. Just like whatever. And boy, oh boy, it was a fun night. But you know what? Like we say over here, man, you can't be afraid to go into different bubbles. You can't be afraid to go into different rooms. You can't be afraid to go out there and stand on whatever it is you believe and defend whatever it is you believe. And that's what happened. You know what I mean? We were able to defend it, and I look forward to working with those guys. I look forward to working with you, Flow State, man. I really look forward to working with you, bro. I look forward to working with Base Oracle. I really look forward. Tonight I'm on another podcast tonight, but I'm definitely going to try to jump over there Wednesday if those guys are going, or if they're going real late, I'll jump over there tonight. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting over there, man. Good folks over there, bro. Shout out to them. They keep it in 100. Shout out to them. Brother Educated Tyrone's in the building. That was for you as well, man. Peace to DL in the chat. Peace to you, bro. Brother Dino was like 2 women in the house. The initial reports was there was a minor and a woman in the house. Again, we're going to have to wait. I'm going to give it a few days and let this all sort out so we can see exactly what's going on. But allegedly, there were 2 people in the home that they brought out that weren't initially considered suspects. But we'll see. I mean, if you train hard with your weapon, anybody can fire any kind of weapon. Or is it the case that there were some other people in the house who engaged law enforcement and then left and managed to get out of there before law enforcement had a perimeter? Who knows? Brother Pitney in the building. What's good, Pitney Juice? Yeah, switches will get you in trouble with the ATF, bro. Hey, man, for real, they'll get you in trouble. But anyone who's firing at law enforcement, I don't think they really care when it comes down to that. But yeah, definitely, man, switches will get you in trouble. And that's something I don't do. Dr. B in the building. What's good, fam? Good to see you. Brother Pitney was there, man. Brother Pitney and Cody as King came through, man. Boy, I needed backup too. They was there, man. 3 of us, we were back to back, bro, trying to hold them off. Like, hey. But like I said, man, you need that. You need that, especially if we're talking about, being men. If we're talking about, being brave, trying to be honorable, standing on whatever it is you stand on. You need that. Challenge yourself. Get outside of your echo chambers and go out there and see what's up and keep your mind open. You know what I mean? Brother Pitt, like Base Oracle, basically mag drop. The minute he saw your shirt, yeah, bro, he mag dumped for real, bro. He was like, let it all go. As soon as he saw that shirt, it set him off. But I ain't gonna lie to you. After the show was over, we were all talking off camera. And yeah, I look forward to bringing that brother over here. I'm gonna go over to his platform, and we're gonna keep that conversation going. He is definitely not on Team Fresh and Fit. You know what I mean? Definitely not Team Fresh and Fit. However, we were able to push through that and come to some common ground and actually see, what's up with each other as men. You know what I mean? So like, I got a lot of respect for that brother. I got a lot of respect for Based Oracle. I really do. We don't have to agree on everything. right? But we can acknowledge our common ground and we can move forward and build from there, man. So it is what it is. Same with Brother Flow State jumped on right at the end. He was like, man, I couldn't believe the drama that shirt caused. Right, man. I just happened to have it on. It was just, I just happened to have it on, bro. And it's funny too, because now I'm like, whenever I go over there, in fact, Thursday, no, not Thursday. Hold on. I'm going to be over there doing a show. Thursday. It is Thursday. I'll be there Thursday about 9:15. I will be on Raging Tomato, and we're going to do the first half of the show will just be an interview. She wants to interview me and find out what's up with me. This is going to be great. And we're going to bring her over here at some point and do the same thing. So I'm sitting here now like, all right, do I keep wearing Fresh and Fit gear? Because that wasn't the plan initially. I just happened to have that on. So I don't know. I got to think about it. Flow State, what should I do, man? Should I wear some Fresh and Fit gear on Thursday when I come over there? What should I do, bro? I'm serious. I'm looking for some advice. Educated Tyrone, anti-fun, bro. It was crazy. Nick C in the building. Hey, DL, much respect. That panel was rough. Good job sticking in there, bro. It was rough, man. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. It was rough, but you know what? We need that. We need that. All that going on. It was crazy. It was a crazy panel. The chat was going crazy. But Raging Tomato, she did good, man. She got some good, donations in there. Had the super chats flowing. Which she needs. There's some medical issues going on with one of her children, which, the money, the donations were well spent over there. Please keep doing it. When you're over there, please continue to donate. They can use the assistance. It was very entertaining. It was very educational. It was new for me. I'm definitely going to keep coming, keep showing my face over there, bro. It was what it was. Brother Viking in the building was good. Just checking in. Appreciate you, man. Nick, see, there's a difference between having two different opinions and being disrespectful. They kept being disrespectful. Yeah, it was. I mean, just keeping it 100 at first. That's what it was, man. It was 100% drama. That's what it was. But at the end of the day, bro, you stand your square and you are able to articulate your position, bro, they got to respect you. And if they don't, then shit, fuck them. You know what I mean? And like I said, at the end of the day, when the cameras are off, man, we got to really talk like men, bro. It was love. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was love. And like I said, I'm gonna continue to go over there. We're gonna continue to grow. We need to use this technology as best we can to grow as individuals, grow as a community, grow as a nation, bro. You know what I mean? There's a lot of young men out there and women, but a lot of young men out there who are lost. And we should come together and try to help these young men find their way. Maybe they want to take the Fresh and Fit route. Maybe they want to take the base Oracle route. Maybe they want to take the mainstream media route. But let's at least arm them with some information. Let's get them thinking, right? Because we're all about thinking over here, right? Let's have them warm up the old
think tank. Arch, nothing gets past the old think tank. Nothing.
Let's get these young men able to think. And if they're able to think and they can think on their own and they can figure it out, you know what I'm saying? They can go out here and make it happen. But it started out disrespectful, but in the end, it was all love. It was nothing but respect. You know what I mean? I'm talking about base Oracle, bro. It was nothing but respect, man. We had a good time in that back chat. You can ask Brother Flow State. He was back there with us. It was a good conversation, man. Like I said, I was very pleased with the outcome. It was crazy. Like I said, and that's how fights go in real life, man. Like, just keep it 100. Even when you get into a physical altercation at the end, and I'm talking about just with the hands, y'all. Hands and elbows and knees, right? I'm just talking about that. You ain't trying to delete one another. You just, you know what I'm saying, getting the aggression out. Once it's over, you got that respect. Like, man, this dude didn't run. This dude got heart. Like, yeah, that dude got heart. Now we could talk. At least we got this baseline, and you kind of go from there. Now, mine is it wasn't a physical altercation because we're all on, this was all technical, it was all technology, but we were able to get past the name calling and the disrespect and actually sit down and figure it out. Like, yo, what are you trying to do here? This is what I'm trying to do. What are you trying to do here? Well, I'm trying to do this. And like, well, you know what? We're not going to come nowhere near out of this Fresh and Fit thing, but we could talk about this other stuff over here, bro. I think we can really do some good over here together. You know what I mean? Together. And that's where we are with it. You know what I mean? So that was good times. Brother Griot's in the building. What's good, fam? You know what I mean? Definitely. Don't wish it was easier. Be better. Shout out to the Viking. Facts. You know what I mean, Brother Flow State. I'm gonna get some Fresh and Fit gear for the open panel. Myron Fresh would appreciate it, bro. That is hilarious. Yeah, that's what set it all off, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. You go back and watch that whole thing. That's what set it all off. And Brother Flo stays like, I actually disagree with Base Oracle's take on the situation, but I mostly stayed out of the convo since I missed most of the discussion. But I think he's wrong in his approach. Again, we don't have to agree with each other's methods, man. But at least he did approach. And like I said, he showed his face, man. He stood on his. Like I said, I gotta respect that man for that. Everybody else hiding behind their computers. This dude right here. I'm here. Here I am. I come down to where you at, boy. I've been in your soil. I'm up here. You know what I mean? If you want to come see me, I'm up here. I gotta respect that, bro. I'm like, hey, I gotta respect that for real, for real. And I look forward to getting to know those brothers over there and seeing exactly what we can do. What positivity can we bring to the space? You know what I mean? I'm hoping we can do some really good work. And Flo State was saying it was good back. It was a good back chat after the show. It absolutely was, bro. Absolutely, Brother Viking. Yep. Real man can fight and still be friends after. Facts, man. And that's how it should be, man. We're men. After that, okay, we've established we're men. Now let's sit down and talk about it. You know what I mean? Let's absolutely talk about it. Nick C, you should do a debate with Base and Leroy versus you and Myron. They would get cooked. Yeah, I like to have conversations, bro. I like to have conversations. At this time, right now, I don't see Myron doing something like that. I just don't. But if we grow, right? If we can grow and we carve out our niche, then yeah, once it makes sense, then yeah, it won't be hard getting Myron to sign off on something like that. You know what I mean? But right now, he would probably say, no, man, he's got bigger fish to fry. He's going after the Daily Wire. So Myron is trying to deal with that. So, but like I said, it's not completely off the table, bro. It's not completely off the table. We'll see how that works. You know what I mean? And my thing is, just so long as we go back and forth, we have a conversation and call it a debate, call it whatever you want to call it. If it helps people, if it helps brothers out there, if it helps some of these sisters out here figure out their way, figure out their path, then I think it's well worth it. You know what I mean? I think it's well worth it. We need that. We need that. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it plays out. But tonight, what we're going to talk about on this show right here, bro, we about to talk about what's going on with the economy, y'all. Like, what is going on with the economy? We're going to hear from, we're going to react to Danielle DiMartino Booth, George Gammon, just to get this thing started. Also, there's a quick video we're going to look at from Bloomberg Opinion that talks about some of this stuff, man. And I think that this conversation needs to be had. I think people need to understand it's not just them. These folks are going out here looking at their Instagram, man. They're looking at everyone else's highlight reel and they're thinking, man, I must be all jacked up because look at their Instagram. Look at dude over there just bought himself a brand new European car, bought a Mercedes or a BMW or something like that, or a Lamborghini. And look at her, man. She's walking around with a brand new Birkin. That's $30,000-$40,000 bag. And, look at them people over there. They're taking these trips and they doing all this. Man, that's a highlight reel, bro. You have no idea what's really going on. And the way I see it, the vast majority of Americans are struggling right now. You can't look at Instagram and think that's real. That's not real. The vast majority of Americans are struggling. It's time to pay the piper. Now, I'm no dude. I'm no talking head. I'm no economist. I'm no big business guy. You know what I'm saying? Big CEO type or whatever. Some huge entrepreneur. But what I am is a guy who can, try to figure stuff out. And the mainstream narrative that everything is fine, the economy is great, the rest of the world is in some sort of a recession, but America is untouched, that doesn't make sense. That the whole world is tied to the same global economy. How is it that Europe and Asia is suffering right now, and the rest of the world is suffering right now, but America is just fine? Well, how is that possible? Like, how is that possible? Most Americans, I'm not going to say most, but a lot of Americans don't even have full-time jobs. They just work multiple part-time jobs and side hustles. Right. The average American family cannot handle an unexpected expense of $500, bro. $500 breaks the bank. $500. Think about that. And right now, everything is going up. Inflation is real. So I want to watch a few of these things and you know, just get people thinking a different way, and then everybody could go out there and do their own research and come back, and maybe you can show me something like, yo, Uncle Saint, look at this, I found this, check out this article, or watch this video. So I mean, I can look at it like, you know, they could say, hey, Uncle Saint, you know, this is why the economy is doing good. Here goes some numbers right here, the real numbers. Okay, cool, let's look at it and let's figure this out. You know what I mean? Yeah, boy, it's kind of rough out here, man. Brother Vikings like, yep, DL is right about Myron. Yeah, man. Yeah, Myron got bigger fish to fry right now, man. But like I said, he has an eye on what's going on. Trust and believe he probably knows about what happened last night, bro. He probably knows, man. Y'all be surprised how hard Myron works when it comes to following what's going on, you know what I mean, in these YouTube streets, man, especially with respect to Red Pill, Manosphere, and all that kind of stuff. I would not be surprised at all if someone's already sent him some clips or something. Brother Pablo in the building, was good, fam. Maybe a depression. You might, maybe we might have really messed it up this time. We might be headed for a depression. We'll see. I don't know, but we're gonna get into this, man. Brother Nick C, very true. Made less in 2020, but had more extra money. And a lot of that money came from the government, man. We're gonna hear about that, you know. So we're gonna start off with this video. So this is Danielle DiMartino Booth. I'm a huge fan. I came across her a couple years ago. She was on Valuetainment. She used to be on. She was part of their home team. You know, she would come on all the time and talk about this kind of stuff. I guess about 2 years ago, and then she kind of moved on. I think she moved out of the state. She moved on and did some other things. And you can always see her on Fox. You see her on CNBC. You can see her on regular Fox. You know, she's out there talking in the business world. So this is her on Fox Business. And this is 3 or 4 days. This was sometime last week. She was talking on Fox Business. And I want you guys to check this out and listen to what she has to say. And then we're going to roll into George Gammon's video from yesterday, where he's actually kind of breaking some stuff down. Shout out to George Gammon, the rebel capitalist. Shout out to Danielle DiMartino Booth. Shout out to Peter Schiff. I don't know why people don't want to listen to these folks. I don't know why they don't want to listen to these folks, man. I had the wrong button. Shout out to these folks, bro. I don't know why they don't want to listen. I don't know why they think that there's some sort of hidden agenda when someone simply comes and pushes back a little bit with numbers. They're using numbers. They're not using stuff that's coming from some crazy fringe stuff. They're getting stuff from the government. Here are the government numbers. Let's talk about these numbers. And then people go after them like crazy. I don't understand that, bro. I don't understand that. And Brother Flo stays like, we outsourced our inflation because we're the global reserve currency. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's another part of it too. We're going to get into that as well later on this week. I wanted to keep this financial theme going throughout the week. Although tomorrow we're going to be talking. No, Thursday we're going to be talking about some dating stuff. We got a very beautiful young woman who's going to come on and give us her take on today's sexual marketplace. Is going to be a good show. Shelby Kingsley is going to be on. You guys definitely going to want to see that. I'll have the thumbnail out tonight. You guys are definitely going to want to see that. That's going to be Thursday, 6:00. But you know, tomorrow we're definitely going to be talking about how this affects the rest of the world. So let's check this out, guys. Again, this is going to be Danielle DiMartino Booth talking about the economy. This was last week. She posted it a few days ago, but it actually aired originally last week on Fox Business.
So my next guest says that the United States may already be in a recession. I'm going to bring in QI Research CEO, Chief Strategist Danielle DiMartino Booth. All right, Danielle, what are you seeing out there?
Well, Charles, I think what I'm seeing is the rearview mirror in the sense that we keep getting more revisions. The Bureau of Labor Statistics put one out a few days ago that showed that we've actually now got payrolls that have turned negative, contracting. But again, these are not the reports that you hear on non-farm payroll Friday when we all crowd around the day on those Friday mornings. These are the initial reports that we hear about. But these revisions, they keep pushing us further and further back from where we thought we were. And, you know, my greatest concern is the media is not doing enough really to cover this subject.
I saw that.
She's absolutely right about that. So what is she talking about? Revisions, right? So whenever the government puts out numbers, they have to put out these numbers. They put out, you know, job reports, and, you know, how many people are employed, how many are unemployed. They talk about GDP, like gross domestic product. They talk about all this stuff. How they put these numbers out, right? The government will put the numbers out. These numbers are estimates. Right? It's always been that way. Now, this is what I didn't know. And I didn't realize this until watching her. So she's talking about revision. So the government people, the bean counters, will put out their best guesstimates. They just put out their guesstimates, right? And I'm willing to bet that those guesstimates have everything to do with how the political winds are blowing. So, you know, whoever's in the White House is going to be leaning on the people, those government entities that are putting these numbers out. And like, hey, I know you want to put out the numbers to say that, you know, unemployment is way up, but we have numbers over here that says the unemployment really isn't up. So why don't you go with those numbers over there and we'll revise it later when the true numbers come out. Something to that effect. That's what's been going on. So the headline numbers will come out. Wall Street will react to it. Everybody will do what they're doing. Okay, everything is great. The economy is great. And then weeks later, month later, something like that, the revisions come out, the real numbers. Here are the real numbers. That was the guesstimate. Here are the real numbers. That's what she's talking about. The downward revisions. The revisions come out and the numbers are worse than what was stated and worse than what was anticipated by everyone else. Oh, like, they see the number. Okay, that's what we anticipated those numbers to come in right around that. But then the revisions come out. It was like, whoa, those numbers are way lower than even our projections. What's going on? We got to rethink stuff, right? So that's what she's talking about, revisions.
That thing go by in a blip, and then I couldn't even find it. I Googled it and couldn't find it. I was like, wait a minute, we lost jobs? The government admitted that? And speaking of which, so we get this weekly stuff, the initial jobless claims, I don't look at anymore. I don't know what's going on with that. It's the same number every single time. But we are seeing other signs of swift employment deterioration, right? This U.S. service PMI was an unmitigated disaster. And it feels like at some point, one of these Fridays, it's going to come out in the real data. I mean, not the real data, but the government data.
Well, you know, Charles, I've lost faith in our statisticians, and it's very difficult for me to say that. I know that there are some great, wonderful, hardworking people, but statistically speaking, some of these releases simply don't add up. But what we've seen in the month of April, which is a seasonally benign month for layoffs, typically companies come out of the gate in January, and that's the big month for layoffs. But we've actually seen the number of job cut announcement out of corporate America surpass in April that which we saw in January. We're at 105,000 and counting. And it seems like every time companies report their earnings, they're doing it with a kicker that says, hey, we're going to lay off 2,000 people or 1,500 people, whatever it is. These are real people. So, you know, it's just curious to me that what we're seeing on the ground is simply not reflected in the data. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. It's just it's a complete aberration that somebody in the former USSR might be able to explain to us.
Yeah.
I mean, this sort of thing happens all the time, doesn't it? Right? It doesn't have to be a conspiracy. It's just people trying to make themselves look as best they can. They're going to bend the rules and bend the rules and bend the rules until they break it. And they're going to point the finger at somebody. And then they're going to go back to the way they were doing it before. Right? Say what you want about the politician. Doesn't matter who's in the White House. If you're sitting in the White House when things are bad, if you happen to be sitting in the White House when the economy is going bad, it's your fault. When in fact you had nothing to do with that economy. It takes time to catch up with you, unless you're in your second term. If you're a first-term president, you had nothing to do with what's coming. Right? If you're sitting in the White House and things are good, you get credit, but you had nothing to do with that. And when things are bad, people are going to look to skew the information, the initial information as best they can towards positive so they don't look too horrific, right? Especially in an election year, right? I mean, that's just what it is. Brother Pablo is saying like, it's like he watched Jay Bravo's channel. I've never watched that before. I'm going to check that out. And Pablo's just saying like, yeah, we're the global currency, but not for long. But here's the thing. The U.S. dollar is going to stay the global currency. I mean, what is it going to go to? The Brexit? I mean, to the not Brexit, but Brinks. What is it? With Russia and China and India. What's that thing called, guys? Somebody help me out. Brother Pitney knows what I'm trying to say. Are they going to take South Africa? Are they going to take over South Africa, China, India, and Russia? Are they going to take over and replace it? No. And George Gammon talks about that too, right? All the current debt that's out there on the books right now, all over the world, is And if you owe $1 million or $1 billion, you're going to have to pay back $1 billion. If they came up, you're not going to come up with another coin and like, this is called water coin, or we're all going to go to this water-based currency where water all of a sudden is money. It's like, well, no, you have to pay me back that money you owe me in dollars first. And then after I get my money back, I'll go ahead and exchange all my dollars for water money or whatever. But, you know, I do it no justice because it's not my wheelhouse. But George Gammon did a really good job explaining it. Thank you, brother. Brother C, brother. The keeper of the knowledge, man. Brother Pitney. You know what I mean? Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Really? They're going to take over the financial world? Stop it. You know what I mean? Brother Jack Black in the building. What's good, fam? They gonna take over the world, man. Stop it. They can't keep the lights on in South Africa. They're dealing with deflation. You know what I mean? Russia can't beat Ukraine. They got problems over there. They're gonna have some civil unrest here in that moment. That Putin's not gonna be able to keep under control forever. You know what I mean? Come on now. India worried about Pakistan, right? India's worried about China. India and China's gonna work on currency when they're fighting each other in the Himalayas. Come on, man. Come on, man. Right? Digital currency worldwide, brother Pablo. Yeah, that digital currency will be central banked backed. So it'll be central bank digital currency, which is what? Dollars, electronic dollars, still controlled by the central bank. They can still do what they're doing. They won't have to print it. You know what I mean? They could just make up more, you know, digital currency, man. Brother D Mac is in the building. What's good, fam? Like the world is sick of Americans screwing up the economy. 2008 was a wake-up call for the world to get off the dollar. Facts, but they can't. It's one thing to want to get off the drugs. It's one thing to want to get off a Hayron. It's one thing to get off. I want to get off the fent, but it's quite another to get off of it because your body's going to go through that shock, bro. You're going to get sick, right? America got the finest dope on the planet when it comes to currency, and everybody's hooked. So yeah, it could be done, bro. I just don't know what it would look like. You know what I mean? I just don't know what it looks like. Brother Penny's right. Yeah, DCs are bad news for privacy. You can forget about privacy. They're gonna shut down everything if they're able to do that. But if the American the central banks go to a digital format, I'm just gonna go with, you know what I mean, Bitcoin. I wouldn't touch it. They pay me in their coin, I'm gonna switch it over to Bitcoin. That's what I would try to do. But then that makes me a bad person, and they're gonna start to try to shut my money off, right? So, man, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Let's continue.
It may be, we'll read about it in Pravda. By the way, you're not the only one. I know a lot of political folks who are saying there's something wrong with the data. Speaking of which, I just spoke to one, Doug. Doug, we're talking about this IMF warning about the U.S. economy. Greg Ip, he wrote a piece in a journal yesterday, essentially saying that our economy is a beast, but it's a beast because of all the debt. And I'm wondering, we're picking winners and losers. We've got all this debt out there, right? We're pumping debt out there, and then we brag about it as nominal GDP. How is that different than the economy we've seen out of China?
You know what, Charles? It is not different in any way, shape, or form. Look, right now, public sector spending, which is inherently inefficient. If you've got the CEO of Taiwan Semiconductor actually saying, I understand the CHIPS Act was going to be good in its intent, but he's never seen such inefficiencies in terms of taxpayer outlays. Right now, the public sector is sucking the life out of the private sector. And I think that that's something that we should appreciate. We have to spend less as a country to let the private sector really come out and drive the economy, which, by the way, is American.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel, before I let you go, I'm looking at all the data. Of course, I thought about you with these new car loan rates are just nuts. I mean, mind-boggling through the roof. But then you see this morning, personal income and consumption up again. It comes through our savings. Our savings rate is 3.2%. Of course, you and I know economists, they come on the show and say, as long as people are working, we can do this forever. We can't. There's no way we can keep mounting debt, higher interest payments, lower savings, and say it's going to go on forever.
We're in such a strange, surreal world. It's very unusual for the average U.S. household to be spending more to service their non-mortgage debt than they do to service the debt
Right.
on their biggest asset, on their home. But yet that's exactly where we are as Americans burn through their savings like nothing I've ever seen. So this is, it's as if the American household is taking its cue from Uncle Sam in terms of how to not keep their book. We're living beyond our means. This has got to come to a halt at some point, and it will, Charles, once the savings is completely exhausted.
Yeah, well, that was.
And she ain't lying, bro. She ain't lying. And to Brother D Mac's point, what the guy on here right away, he was like, yeah, the rest of the world, the international money, International Monetary Fund people, they're like, what are y'all doing over there in America? Right? You got all these other countries, like, what's going on? But they can't focus too much on America because they got their own problems. So my thing is, if America goes down, right, the rest of the world is in a hole. They just implode completely, right? If America if America sneezes, the rest of the world catches cold. So if America has the flu, what happens to the rest of the world when it comes to finances? Right? It's a wrap. So, and who's going to recover first? America will. America will. We still got all the bread. We still have the ability to print the money or not print the money. Everything still is in dollars. And we have the biggest, baddest army the world has ever known. So when it comes down to it, you can't strong arm us. No way, shape, or form. So this is just gonna have to run its course. Like you said, like, well, as long as people are working, we can do this forever. Like, no, we can't. No, we can't. The money's about to run out. Right? I don't believe Jerome Powell is really thinking about, lowering interest rates. I would not be surprised if the White House proposes some sort of emergency measure and want to, give out money again, but that's going to be after November anyway. I mean, the Biden administration is pulling out all the stops, man. They want to take marijuana off that stage 1 or whatever, that category 1, stage 1 drug, and they want to make it to stage 3. They're trying to, hey, I'm gonna give you weed. Come out and vote. Don't vote for the other guy. Vote for me. I'm about to give you weed. They're doing everything they can, right, to keep folks from looking at the problem. The problem is we have a spending problem, right? So, man, I'm not quite sure. And Brother D Mac, you're right, man. Like, who really uses cash anymore? I like to keep cash on hand, but when you go out, man, you go some places, bro, they don't even take cash. Like, you can't even operate with cash these days, bro. I mean, it's just crazy. Brother Pablo is like, I use cash when I go to the grocery store, right? And what's going to happen is the grocery store is going to say, hey, we don't have enough cash to give you your change, so you mind using your debit card? You mind using your credit card? And of course, you want to get your groceries, so you're gonna do that. You're not gonna just leave the cart full of stuff there, right? But they're gonna try that. But they always have cash on hand. The big supermarkets. All you gotta do is go over to the office. They're gonna give you cash or whatever. But you see how easy it is just to get you to use cash. So yeah, I want to get into this. George Gammon, the rebel capitalist, guys. If you guys haven't checked him out, man, please go to his site right now. Right, he has George Gammon on YouTube. He's George Gammon and the Rebel Capitalist. Right, go over, subscribe to both. Look at those headlines, bro. He puts out nothing but pure knowledge, bro, and he's giving you a perspective. Hey, look at this, and he breaks it down. He does whiteboard videos. He does all sorts of stuff, just like we're about to watch here. And this guy is a multimillionaire living in Colombia. He lives in Medellin, Colombia. He was in finance. He was in real estate. He's done very well for himself. He left America a long time ago, years ago. He's in Colombia. Why is he in Colombia? Because the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar is really strong in Colombia. Makes sense to be there. There are places on planet Earth where your purchasing power is just right. He's going to get more bang for his buck out of $5 in Colombia than we will for $5 in America. Because the dollar is strong in Colombia, right? There are places you can go where the dollar isn't as strong. So I think that's one of the reasons he's there. The place is chock full of beautiful women. George Gammon is not one of those guys who's going to be in Poblado somewhere where the tourists are and all that kind of stuff. No, this is a businessman, a grown man doing his thing. He's had some vlogs. This dude takes helicopters to go have dinner. Right, not even the library helicopters need R-44s like Robinsons, but they got deals. He'll get a couple women, they load up, go fly in a helicopter, go have dinner or whatever because traffic is so bad. But that dollar is so strong down there that it makes sense for him to be able to do stuff like that, right? So shout out to George Gammon, bro. Yeah, and you're right though. He does use lots of graphs. He's going to be doing that here, man. He gives a lot of graphs, and a lot of it is very hard to understand. Yeah, you got to. I hear you, bro. You got to sit there, and I got to watch it sometimes 3, 4, 5 times because I'll watch it and pay attention. I'm like, okay, I can't get where he's coming from because he's part of that world. He throws the terms out, and it's like, man, I don't even know what that term is. So I got to go look the term up, and then I'll come back to the video. But I'm telling you, man, he's putting out some information that really makes sense. And the point is just to get you thinking a different way, right? Just to get you thinking. And that's all we're trying to do here, guys. I'm not saying I know the answers. I'm not saying follow me. I know the way. All I'm saying is let's listen to this dude. Let's listen to this lady. Let's read this article. Let's sit back and let's put it through the think tank, right? Because we hear what we're being told. The mainstream media is spoon feeding us some stuff. None of this stuff is even being talked about in the media. What are they talking about? They're talking about college kids at Ivy League colleges having protests over Palestine. So what? There's nothing. I don't care about that. Meanwhile, meanwhile, Americans can't afford to live. So let's get into this, man. Let's check this out. Brother Pitney's like, personally, I find his graphs helpful. I guess it depends on your learning style. Yeah, it does. Like I like the graphs, man. When he's breaking down certain stuff, George Gammon was talking about this commercial real estate meltdown a year and a half ago. He like when the interest rate, like when right before Silicon Valley went under, he was talking about this. He was talking about what's going to happen with the commercial real estate business. He was talking about this $1 trillion industry that's about to implode. You know what I mean? Year and a half, almost 2 years ago, he was talking about this. Now look what's going on. People was like, oh man, he's just a doom and gloomer. Word? Is that right? We can go back and look at it. Go back and check it out. He did a chart. He was breaking it down. It's just basic knowledge. Like, how is this gonna work? Now this is how much debt you got to service. This is where you serviced your debt at before. At this percentage was like 2%. Now you're gonna have to service the same amount of debt at 7%. Is it worth it? What are you gonna do? You're gonna walk away from the building. Bro, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but go back and check it out. I'm gonna see if I can find that, man. Brother D Mac, America will survive. I agree. America is going to change how our financial system operates from an inflationary system to a deflationary. We have no choice. Even if America will survive. That was the point I was making earlier. Like, even if America, like, let's say the whole system just takes a dump, the rest of the world systems take dumps at the same time. Who's going to recover faster? America is. Like, America is. Of course we are. We're going to change things. We're going to stop consuming. We're going to start building stuff here again, maybe. But what happens is America will do what it has to do to take care of itself. Now, because if America puts itself in a situation and the rest of the world is going to struggle, once we get back on our feet, right, the rest of the world will be getting up on their feet, and they still going to be getting their dope from us. No matter what, we still Mr. Big. We still a plug, right? So let's check out this George Gammon video.
Capitals, hope you're well. I wanted to go over what I think is the real indicator as to whether or not the United States economy is actually in recession. When you combine this with real GDP. You guys remember back in 2022, we had 2 consecutive quarters of negative real GDP. And they came out and said, oh, no, not a recession. Nothing to see here, because we didn't have high rates of unemployment. Oh, we got to have high rates of unemployment. I'm sure if we get that, they're just going to move the definition again. They're going to change the position of the goalposts, if you will. But I think what we should really be looking at in terms of a recession, when you combine it with real GDP, is actually purchasing power. Because at the end of the day, what is the unemployment rate measuring? It's just measuring aggregate demand, or they're just using that as a proxy for aggregate demand. So when unemployment rate goes up, that's why the NBER, the agency that's in charge of determining when it is we actually go into recession, that's what they're using as a proxy for demand. You figure that's 70% of the economy, consumption. So they figure that the only way aggregate demand can go down is if unemployment goes up. Therefore, that's what they get hyper focused on. But as we know, we've lived this over the last couple of years, It's not just about whether or not people have a job. It's about whether or not their wages are keeping up with the rate of inflation.
Doesn't that make sense? Who cares if you have a job? Who cares how many jobs you have if you can't afford milk? Who cares? You just got a raise. You just got a new title. If you can't afford insurance, you can't afford your medical insurance. You can't afford your auto insurance. You can't afford your homeowner's insurance. Who cares? Because all that went up. I just got a 15% raise. That is great news. The bad news is inflation is up 35%. You see what I'm saying? But the powers that be, the government bean counters, they're going to give you the information in such a way that you believe that, oh, this doesn't really affect me. But at the end of the day, you know it does. When you go to McDonald's or someplace and you're trying to get you a Happy Meal for your kid, and you realize that Happy Meal costs $3 more now, $4 more now. The gas costs $3, $4 more, right? Milk costs almost as much as gas. Right? You looking like, whoa, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? This is what he's talking about. Who cares who has a job and how much they're making if inflation is runaway inflation? And, you know, every time you get a 15% raise, inflation goes up twice that.
And if you've got inflation here and wages here, if there's a delta, then it's going to have the exact same impact on the economy as having a high unemployment rate. So let's go right over to this article from CNBC. You guys will see exactly what I'm referring to.
CNBC,
29% of households have jobs, but
this is CNBC. This was published Monday, April 29th, 2024 at 11:38 a.m. Eastern time. So this is where he's reading this article from CNBC. He's not getting this from some fringe, you know what I mean? He's not getting this article from some fringe outlet somewhere. He's not getting this article from, you know, some dude is just like Happy Finance on YouTube, whatever. He's getting this from CNBC. Where do you think CNBC is getting their information from?
struggle to cover basic needs. And again, this is not George Gammon talking. This is not the tinfoil hatter on YouTube. This isn't fear mongering. This isn't the Alex Jones of economics or any of this stuff. This is straight from the personal finance section today, CNBC. Right here. They are one emergency from poverty. Yet somehow, when you listen to the mainstream media, where the economy's booming. In fact, the economy's too hot, if anything. I mean, can you imagine if the economy wasn't as hot, if it was just doing really, really well? Then what would we have? 50% of households on the brink of poverty? And then if the economy was just doing so-so, we'd have 75% of U.S. households on the brink of poverty. I mean, this is to sit there and say with a straight face that the United States economy is running on all 8 cylinders. And the thing that we should really be concerned with is the economy just doing too well. It's just moronic. That you cannot say that with a straight face.
Bro, is he lying? Ladies and gentlemen, is he lying? Look at that headline, right? 29% of households have jobs but struggle to cover basic needs. They are one emergency away from poverty, one expert says. Right? One emergency from poverty. And what did I say before we even watched this video? The vast majority of American families can't afford an unexpected expense of $500, bro. $500. That ain't hard to be, bro. Car could break down easily. $500, right? Kid outside playing, they break something easily. $500 with co-pays and whatnot. Easily. You know what I mean? Somebody gets run over by a car or whatever. Ambulance has to come. You got to, transport somebody. Easily $500. How you gonna pay for that? You already maxed out all your credit cards. How you gonna pay for that? And you still got to figure out how you're gonna pay your car note. You gotta figure out how you're gonna pay your insurance. You're out here working. You can't work anymore. You're maxed out. You're working, 2 full-time jobs and a side hustle. You're maxed out. You're making more money you ever made before in your life, but you can't afford nothing. Why? Inflation. Inflation. This man ain't lying. This don't sound like crackpot stuff to me, man. Y'all let me know what y'all thinking.
Let's get down into this article. Key talking points. The number of households that live above the poverty line but are barely scraping by is ticking higher. Exactly what you'd expect to see in a booming economy, right? Currently, nearly 40 million Americans are defined as ALICE, which stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained but Employed. And I think that would pretty much define most of Americans.
40 million American families are asset limited, income constrained, employed. It's a fancy acronym. What does it mean? They don't have enough money to pay for stuff. That's what that means. And they can't work any harder to get it. They're using everything. They're using little Timmy's paper route, or they're taking, little Susie's YouTube money to pay bills. They can't, that's it. They're maxed out. And they can't afford to live. 40 million American families. Bro, mainstream media is not talking about this at all, huh? Nobody on the campaign trail is talking about this. How come no one's talking about this? If I'm running for president of the United States, this is the only thing I'm talking about. And I'm going to have some sort of, give me a platform so I can tell Americans how I'm going to do better. But the two dudes we get to choose from to be president of the United States are both the problem. They both burned through money that led to this. All that money they gave away. Both administrations gave away basically the same amount of money that led to this inflation. This is a problem. This is the problem. They set this in motion, both of them. Now we gotta pick between the same two dudes again. And if I was running for president right now, this is all I'll be talking about. But the current guy who's running for president, he's worried about his court cases, but even still, he can't say I'm gonna do better because all they're gonna do is point out to the fact like, nah, he right did what we did and burned through all his money, and that's why we're here right now. This is why I keep telling people it's such a shitty choice this time around.
Not just 40 million. Next key talking point: high inflation and higher interest rates have taken a hefty toll, and there's little relief in sight. So keep in mind, this 40 million number that they're giving you, which I would argue is much higher, based on my experience and just talking with average Joes and Janes on the channel, and when I'm in the United States, you've got to keep in mind this is combined, or this is on top of the people who are defined as under the poverty line. So it's just barely above the poverty line, but it doesn't include the, let's just say 20 million that are below the poverty line. So that takes you up to 60 million if you believe this number. And I think that's low. I would say if you take the ALICE people and the people living below the official poverty line, I'll bet you're at 100 million people. Especially when you exclude the coasts. And that's where all these financial elite type live. And they think that just because all their buddies are joining the nearest country club and driving around Aston Martins because they have assets and their assets have gone up 10 times since 2020, they believe that that's just representative of everybody in the United States. And then you ask them, oh, dude, when's the last time you were in the Midwest? The Midwest? Never. I would never go to the Midwest. Deal with all those Trump supporters or deal with all those insurrectionists or whatever they call them. I mean, let's just be honest here for a moment. The snobby types on the left and the right, for that matter, on the coast, whether it's the West Coast or the East Coast, they loathe the middle class in the Midwest. I mean, they cannot stand to be around them. They are so egotistical. They are so self-centered. And they are just so elitist that just the thought of just some normal person in Kansas or Oklahoma or something, it just totally puts them off. Like, oh boy, yeah, no thanks.
He ain't lying. He ain't lying at all. Brother D Mac with the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. The question is, how do we pay off the national debt? Over $34 trillion. We can't keep kicking this can down the road. Absolutely 100% correct, brother. We cannot keep kicking this can down the road. How do we pay it off, man? I think we got to stop spending as much. we got to tighten up the old belt. I don't know how we do that though, bro. But the first thing is we got to stop spending so much. But we've gotten the whole country hooked on this dope, man. The dope is cash, man. That PPP stuff, man. All the stimmy money, man. That was a direct line, bro. That was right here, bro. That was a direct line. Gave it to them. Now they gotta have it, right? We have to prepare the country and let everybody know it's about to hurt. This is about to hurt for real. This is about to hurt. We about to go through it. Back in the 70s, man, that downturn, that when we went through that recession, that was 11 years, bro. I was a young and I remember the grown-ups worrying over that. That was bad, man. Gas prices going up and all that. I remember when the gas prices went over $1 a gallon. People lost their damn mind. Sister Ashley in the building, what's good, sis? Like, oh, snaps. Yeah, dude's making solid points. Mr. George Gammon. If you ain't on his page, you be on his page. The rebel capitalist, George Gammon. Check him out, man. National debt is his favorite scare tactic, too. Like, bro, who's talking about the national debt? We looked at the debt clock about 6 months ago. Maybe I'll pull up the old debt clock before we get off. Oh, shit, Base Oracle in the building. What's good, fam? In the building, bro. Base Oracle like, man, you had plenty of time to make your points to me. I'm back in FLO State. Hey, bro, I look forward to hollering at you, man. I'm doing after this podcast, I'm jumping on the Buddies podcast out of Texas tonight. But if you guys are on late, once I'm done, I should only be over there like a couple hours. Once I'm done over there, man, I definitely want to come holler at y'all, bro. Like I said, we spent the first part of this podcast talking about yesterday's show, man. So shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, bro. Brother Viking, like I'm from the Midwest. They call my home state the third coast. That's hilarious, bro. Yeah, flyover country, man. He's talking about these folks. These folks, you know, I've been around these people, man, and they don't live in our bubble. Like, you know, there's people with money, man. Like I'm fortunate enough that I've been around the 1%. And I mean, it's just a different world, man. It's just a different state of being. None of this bothers them. Like none of this affects them. If America was to fold up shop tomorrow, that's fine. They just move to whatever country's in charge. It could be, you know, UK, it could be Germany, it could be, you know, China. They got bread. They're at a point where they can never be broke. You know, you're talking about that generational wealth, man. So they look at it differently, man. None of this affects them. None of this affects them. In fact, most of them are sitting on cash. They're waiting for this to happen. They've seen it coming. Like, oh, it's about to get ugly, and we're going to be able to get some great deals. Not only in real estate, but they're going to be buying companies outright. We're going to get some great deals. They're going to be doing all kind of stuff, buying more politicians. You know what I mean? They're going to be doing, this is just a cycle that happens all the time, man. When there's blood in the streets, bro, they're going to make money, man. It's times like this. Patrick Beck Davis says it all the time. Like, it's times like this, man, when you can add a zero to your net wealth if you know what you're doing. Now, Beck David, dude's got some paper now, but he started off at the bottom and worked his way up. Right. When, you know, he doesn't surround himself with elitists. He surrounds himself with regular folks. He's trying to make millionaires. Right. Shout out to Patrick Bet David, man. That guy, United States Army Air Assault. You know what I mean? That's what he's trying to do, man. Chris Smokey hat in the building. What's good, fam? Nixon taking the US dollar off the gold standard started all this. Now the government has free reign to print as much money as they want. Yeah, they can print. You're right. They can print as much as they want, but there is repercussions to it. Right? Like I said, we can't keep kicking this can down the road. We coming up on a brick wall. Kick that can down the road. It's going to bounce off the wall. hit us right in the face. Can't do it forever. Now, you can't do it without causing these type problems. And that's where we are right now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Base is over here You know what I'm saying? Me and Bass got to understand it, man. That's my dude. That's my dude, man. I ain't mad. DL Saint said he's coming through tonight. Yeah, bro. I got a like I said, I got a show I'm doing. They start at 10 o'clock Eastern time. They're in, their central time there in Texas. I'm gonna do that, bro, and I'm gonna pop over. So as I'm doing, if I'm on a panel, what I'll do, man, I'll keep checking to see what y'all doing, and I'll send some, I'll hit up the chat to let you know where I am, trying to get you an ETA or whatever. But they normally go like 2 hours. I got that going on, man. But I'm definitely gonna come through, bro. We could finish our conversation. National Debt every day, Ashley. Like he just talked about it, the national debt. I said that's their favorite scare tactic. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, the national debt, girl, we gotta address it. We have to address it. We just can't keep doing what we're doing, right? And this is where we are. This is where it has gotten us. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. People will scream bloody murder if you stop giving out cash. That's what they're doing right now. If you want their vote, you got to buy it, bro. Them votes are for sale, right? So you running for president right now, you best be talking about how we gonna get you some more stimmy money. We're gonna get you this, we're gonna get you that, which will be a bold-faced lie. Because if we cut any more stimmy money checks, it's gonna be a problem. Like George Gammon is not a political guy. He's not. He's a numbers dude. And he's looking at the numbers, he's telling you what it is. It's like, hey man, I'm reading the tea leaves, bro. This is what's going on. This is how this works. And he's been screaming, he's been saying this, he's been pretty spot on. You know what I mean? He's been pretty spot on. He's like, yeah, he's like, and Bass Org was like, yeah, do your thing, always welcome. Hey, bro, for sure. Like I got that thing tonight, and then Thursday I'm back on Raging Tomato. But Wednesday after my show, I ain't got nothing going on, bro. So if I don't catch you tonight, man, let's talk about something for tomorrow, bro. That's right. You're on. Do me a favor, man. Can you put your X handle? I want to find you on X. I'm gonna have to start doing more on Twitter, man, because you said you're not on Instagram. But I definitely want to holler at you, bro. Brother Pablo, man, with the $20 super chat, man. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. It's like Riley on saying you gotta be prepared. Yeah, man, and that's I'm trying to find some people in the business, man, because how do you prepare for a recession? I mean, I think that's going to be a good topic. Brother Bass, how would you prepare? Like Sister Ashley, maybe that's something we can get together and have that conversation. Like, what's the best way to prepare for regular people? What's the best way for us to prepare? What should we be doing outside of course, tightening our belts? What should we be doing? That's a show that I've been kind of toying around with in the back of my head, and I'm trying to figure it out. Sister Ashley with the $5 super chat. Thank you, sis. It's times like this, you know what I mean? And Sister Ashley not gonna do some comedy too, y'all. Y'all don't know that, but we're gonna do some comedy real soon. We're gonna be doing some open mics here in the Tampa area, y'all. When it happens, trust me, I'm gonna let y'all know, bro. If we bomb, I'm gonna call it like it is. You know what I mean? But Sister Ashley and I, we trying to make them plans to make that happen. Flo stay here, like I did, and decided not to last night, but I'm not opposed to discussing it. Oh, that's what's up, man. And you'll be live tonight as well. Like I said, I'm gonna try to catch up with y'all, man. I definitely want to rock with y'all moving forward, bro. I just that whole community, man. I want to embed myself in that community. And I want to rock with y'all, man. Brother D-Mac, $10 super chat, man. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you so much, man. You are 1000% correct. Millionaires are made in recessions. Yeah, bro. That's what all the people I know with money, they're like, man, when it's blood in the streets, that's when you start buying. That's when the cash comes out. Warren Buffett has the highest cash reserve he's ever had in his history. He's been building up cash for a long time. You look at all the big names, or Jeff Bezos, he's sitting on a ton of cash. You got all of the big guys are out there. The Walton family, they're sitting on a bunch of cash. Why? They know it's about to be some deals out there, bro. They're about to get it. They're about to get it. You know what I mean? But for us regular folks, like, what can we do? Like, we're going to have to at least position ourselves where we don't get trampled, and maybe catch a couple dollars out of this if we position ourselves right. I think that's what we should be trying to do. Brother Michael in the building. What's good, fam? Let me show you some, wrong button. Let me show you some love. Like you eventually revalue the gold against a new normal, a new nominal amount, and book the gain just like when Roosevelt did it with the 20s and 35s. 2025's bump during the Great Depression. Bro, I need to study that more. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I don't know as much as I need to know about the Great Depression. And the what was it? The Great New Deal? Is that what that was? The Great New Deal or something like that? So I need to get up to speed on that, bro. So, but what you're saying makes sense. You got to revalue gold against a new nominal amount and book the gain. And that's what Roosevelt did in the 20s to 35. That's the bump during the Great Depression. I got to look into that. I don't know much about that. And this is why, you know, I mean, maybe we can all get together, bro. Anybody who knows more about this stuff, you know, please tell me, brother D-Mac, you know, let me know, like the keeper of our knowledge, man. We got brother Pitney, you know what I mean? If any of our new friends know, man, let me know. But let's continue with the video.
And so they, again, see the world through that lens. And in their world, the economy is booming. Absolutely. So why should we not believe Jerome Powell when this excludes the real 100 million out there that aren't part of this 1%? You know, it's very similar to when I went on Fresh and Fit the last time.
Uh-oh. He just said Fresh and Fit. Wait. Flow State. He just said Fresh and Fit. Based Oracle. Look, don't go running down to Columbia looking for brother George Gammon, man. He's innocent in all this. Just because he was on Fresh and Fit a couple times talking about money. And he sat on the panel with the girls one night and he's about to talk about it. But based Oracle, don't beat him up, man, because he said Fresh and Fit.
If you guys are familiar with that show, two kids who are just probably some of the most hard-working people I've ever seen in my life. And they do a great podcast in the kind of men's space. And they always interview some of these gals on there that maybe 21, 22, 20, kind of in their 20s. And these are gals, a lot of them are decent looking, and especially at that age, you know, they're going out with all these guys in Miami that are rich and whatnot. And the Fresh and Fit guys, Myron and Walter, they'll ask them, you know, what do you think the average wage is in the United States? And they will literally say $100,000 or $200,000. I mean, they are so detached from reality because it's just not their world. They're sitting there posting, you know, butt selfies on Instagram, and I'm not going to condemn them for that. More power to them. But it gets them a lot of attention from guys that are in a very high income bracket in Miami. And therefore, if the last 10 guys that they have dated are making $250,000 a year at that age, they just think, well, that's normal. Of course. I mean, yeah, if you have like a job working at Nordstrom's, obviously you're making $250,000 a year. And it reminds me of the people on the coast that fall into that category when they own assets. They have this huge stock portfolio. They have all these things, including the country club membership and the brand new Aston Martin. So they just use that as a proxy of the overall economy. And they totally ignore the fact that it's becoming more and more and more and more bifurcated. And that if that's 100 million people in the Alice class now, I don't see why we wouldn't expect that to continue to get worse. You have to look at the policies or what has happened in the United States to create that to begin with. Once you step back and determine what the factors are that went into this phenomenon, then you can ask yourself, okay, what are the probabilities that this continues? And I would say that the probability is extremely high. Nearly 40 million Americans, or 29% of the population.
Yeah. Brother Cody's King is in the building. What's good, fam? What's good, man? Cody's like, what's up? What's up, DL in the chat? You know what I mean? Cody was there like yesterday, man. And listen, hey, Cody, me and Base, bro, me and Base Oracle, man, we talked off camera, bro, yesterday. I sat on that panel and I waited to the end. and we talk, bro. Like I said, we came to an understanding as men, bro. Like I said, I'm out here trying to help dudes. I believe he's trying to help dudes. So we're gonna try to move forward and help as many people as we can. I tell you right now, we are never gonna see eye to eye on the fresh and fit thing ever. You know what I mean? But there's some other things out there that we can work on, man. So like, it is what it is, bro. But Cody was in the chat, bro. I'm telling you, man, it was contact front when we got up in that bitch, bro. It was all night long. It was contact front. But I can honestly say, bro, we was able to sit down. Like, I know where dudes stay. I know what city he in. He know what city I'm in. You know what I'm saying? We talk like men, bro. Real talk, off camera, backstage. We talk like men. And it was what it was, man. You can ask Brother Flo State. He was back there. we was back there. You know what I'm saying? Making it happen. Brother Mandrill's in the building, man. I saw you, Mandrill. But yeah, man, we definitely want to get back to what Brother George Gammon was saying. But here's the thing, man. Just like the elitists and the wealthy dudes, the millionaires, the 1%ers, the boys and girls who are in the 1%, and like the women on the panel to come on Fresh and Fit or to go on a wherever podcast or Access Vegas, right? Those two classes of folks have no idea what it's like out here in the real trenches. They really don't. It's nothing for an attractive woman in a big city somewhere to be accustomed to $500 dinners every other night, to be riding around on a multi-million-dollar yacht, to be flying, if not in a private jet, flying around in a Meridian or a TBM or something like that. And for those who don't know what that is, that's like a really nice private aircraft, turboprop. Those are real nice airplanes. Like, bro, if I had that kind of money laying around, I'd definitely have myself a TBM, right? Good regional airplane. These women are used to that. This is their reality. They're not getting handed the bill, right? The guys are just, cash apping them money all day long. They're just, oh yeah, everyone is 6'3", making $500,000 a year. Oh, the average dude has to be making, 150,000. And then when you break the numbers down, they're like, what? Like, yeah, ain't nobody, baby, you ain't making that kind of money. Simply because you're receiving the money from somebody else, you're not making that kind of money. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things, that they just don't understand. And that's the point that George Gammon was really trying to make. The 1%ers are so far removed from what's going on in these trenches, bro. And so are a certain segment of women. So let's continue.
Fall in the ALICE category. Again, that's asset limited, income constrained, employed. According to the United Way's United for ALICE program, which first coined the term to refer to households earning above the poverty line but less than what they need to get by. The figure doesn't include the 37.9 million. I said 20 million. Sorry, I should have doubled it. So the basically 40 million people who live in poverty, which accounts for another 11.5% of the total population. So think about that. Let's just assume for a moment this is 60 million, which I think it was probably higher than that. That is 100 million that's 1 in 3 Americans. 1 in 3 Americans are basically at or on the brink of poverty. And yet you are being gaslit constantly by the elites on both coasts and the mainstream media to believe that the economy is in fuego. And if you want to say it's anything otherwise, then you just don't know how good you've got it. You just because you can't balance your checkbook at the end of the month, just because you can't afford to put a roof over your head or food on the table, you can't tell me that this isn't the best economy we've ever seen in the United States. I mean, that's the level of insanity we're dealing with. Stubborn inflation has driven many households near the breaking point, but the pain of high prices has not been shared equally. By most measures, low-income households have been the hardest hit. Well, it's always the poor and middle class. But let's be honest. In fact, this is another thing that really gets me going. To believe the economy is healthy right now from a fundamental standpoint, is to believe that way back in 2019 that we could lock everybody in a cage. We could totally shut down global production of the economy for a year, and it somehow would not only not impact the economy, but it would not have an impact on the poor and middle class. Like if you would have asked any sane human being in 2019, hey, what do you think would happen from a standpoint of the economy if we just locked everyone in a cage for a year and a half and wouldn't let them out of their house? Do you think A, the economy would be booming 2 years after that? Or B, do you think we would be in the greatest depression since the 1930s? And actually something that would make the 1930s look like a picnic.
This is what no one talks about. And I go crazy when I watch mainstream media or whatever. I'm reading articles. No one talks about this. We shut down the economy. We shut down the economy. And okay, at the time they made the decision. Someone had to make the call. They made the call. They believed that it was best for America. They did what they did. They shut down the economy. You mean to tell me that no one sitting at that big table in that situation room said, hey, if we shut down the economy, this is going to be the fallout from that? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. Of course they did. There was someone in the room saying this is what's going to happen once we shut the economy down and try to start it back up again. This is the fallout from that decision. And the thing that bothers me the most is, okay, we did this. Am I to believe that there are smart people in Washington who went back and they assessed what we did to learn from it? No, because we're still making the same mistakes over and over again. And when the next big thing comes, the next pandemic comes, they're going to do it again. You're going to keep making the mistakes because we're not doing a debrief. In the military, we had to always debrief after missions. And I carry that with me into civilian life. Every time I do something, I debrief. Every time if I do a comedy show, I listen to my set. I record my set on my phone. I'm debriefing myself, right? Whenever we do a room and we bring comics in and we promote a show, there's always a debrief for me and my partner and anybody else who was on that team that was helping us. We do debriefs. That's the only way you're going to learn. America keeps making the same mistakes over and over again because they refuse to learn, and we refuse to learn the lessons. We refuse to debrief. Simple as that. Simple as that. Like, we did all this stuff, man. It's out of this world crazy that we didn't go back and debrief that. Or we're just going to blame everybody. We're going to blame the medical guy. What was his name again? We're going to blame him, Fauci. It was all Fauci's fault. Okay, well, there had to be some good there and there had to be some bad there. Right? You got people, the whole jab thing. That was the most difficult decision I ever had to make in my life. I'll probably never be faced with another decision quite so difficult, is to decide what I'm going to do with my family reference this jab. And then it got politicized and it just made me so mad. And the fact that if you did want to, and if you wanted to take part in that, you had to sign a waiver. So it's like, I could be pumping poison into my child's veins and I can't even get no get back on the back end. This is what I mean about that, bro. Like, forget the politics behind everything, bro. It's like, what are we doing? Can we go back and look at that? Can we go back and say never again? We're never going to force Americans to put an experimental serum in their bodies and force them to do it. We're going to outlaw that. We're going to always give you the choice because this is a free country. We can't even say the stuff, man, or YouTube will shut you down. Can't even say the stuff, man, or, the social medias will want to, everybody except for the green one will want to shut you down. This is why I listen to people like George Gammon. This is why I listen to folks out there who they might say is friends or whatever, because I need to get all the information, bro. Because our elected officials aren't going to do it. Why? Because they're owned. They're bought and paid for, man. And the people at the top, right? The people at the top, they're marching to the beat of a different drum.
Sane human being would have said the latter. Yet somehow we ignore all that and just assume that, no, we were wrong. Boy, I guess you can just lock the economy down for 2 years and not produce anything and put half the small and mid-sized businesses out of business, and it just doesn't even do anything. Think about how ridiculous that is to say out loud. Yet somehow the mainstream media is trying to get you to believe that. Just crazy. I mean, that's what I'd ask your friend and family member Fred right now that calls you a fearmonger for saying the economy isn't doing that well. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You just don't realize how good you've got it. Say, okay, well, if what you're saying is true, then that means we can shut down the global economy for 2 years and it doesn't do anything. Is that your position? And then just try to see how they weasel their way out of that one. Getting back to the article. Even though we've seen wage growth on the low to moderate income, that's also where the inflation has hit the hardest. This is something that I've been saying on this channel for quite some time. You can't just look at the average wage growth, compare it to inflation, and then say, oh, yeah, we had negative real wage growth there for a while, but more recently we've had positive wage growth. That's not understanding the nuance. Let's go over to the Atlanta Fed, and I'll show you exactly what I'm referring to. So this is the actual wage growth broken down by age. And you can see this green line represents an age group 16 to 24. So this would be included in the average. And look at how much higher their income has gone up in nominal terms than, let's just say, the average mom and dad that's 35 years old with 3 kids. That's really struggling right now. You see, the 20-year-old, their wages have gone way up. But does that really matter? Are they feeling the impact of inflation when they're living at home, when they're living in their parents' basement, when they just eat whatever's in their parents' refrigerator, when they just borrow their parents' car, or they just Uber? They really haven't felt the impact of inflation because they don't have any of those expenses. But yet they've seen their wages go up. I mean, look at this. 2022, year over year, their wages were up 13% just for the year. So that's why you go to the cafe, the restaurant, the bowling alley, the movie theater, the Instagram vacations, and it's just packed with young people. Of course. They've received all the benefits of wage growth without any of the costs of consumer price inflation. But unfortunately, for all the other adults that are over 25 that have kids, that have responsibilities, that have to put a roof over their head, that have to put food on the table, for them, their wages haven't gone up even close to the levels of what the government admits to as far as the CPI. And when you look at the U.S. economy through this lens, it all starts to make sense. It all makes sense. Let's get back to the CNBC article.
And Brother Cody was like, yeah, man, the wage growth numbers massively manipulated and fake. And that's what Gammon was saying. These are the numbers that the government would admit to. And we talked about that at the very beginning of the show. We were listening to Danielle DiMartino Booth talking about the downward revisions. And I mean, Cody ain't lying. So what they do is they put out the fake numbers and then they give the real numbers later with the revision, which is, well, we gave you an estimate, but here are the real numbers, and the real numbers are always way down. But what they're talking about here with, these young kids living at home, making money, getting out of college, going, say mom and dad paid for college, they get out of college, they got the good job, they're starting their stuff, they're making some bread, they're living at home. So they're not getting hit with the massive inflation stuff. Most of these kids don't have a car. They're driving mommy and daddy's car when they want to go out, or they're Ubering or whatever. They don't have any kids. They're not really, some of them might, they went from their parents' insurance, health insurance, to their own health insurance when they got a job with the corporation. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're like, hey, whatever. They're just out here doing their thing. It doesn't hit them, but everybody else, all the real grown-ups are like, bro, inflation is eating us up, bro. We can barely make it. There is no real growth. That's just how that is, man. So Yeah, that's what yeah, see, Cody called it too late. Even dude just called it. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. This is why I like the rebel capitalists. George Gammon is having a conference in Orlando. It's coming up the end of this month or end of next month. Well, end of May, I think it is. End of May. It's going to be in Orlando. He brings out his people and they talk numbers and they talk about all this stuff. I'm really thinking about getting over there. I'm trying to get over there. Rich Cooper is coming down from Canada. He's going to be there. And George Gammon has a bunch of people that fall under his rebel capitalist banner, and they just talk about these things. It's very, very eye opening. If anyone is in Central Florida or close to Central Florida, I think it might be worth the price of admission. Don't ask me how much it is, but you got to go to Rebel Capitalist. I think it's .com. There's a website there, or just put in George Gammon live event. It'll come up. It'll take you to the Eventbrite or whatever. The revised economic numbers are always worse, much worse. That's what we're seeing. It didn't used to always be that way, but now it's just like always worse. Brother Cody, 30K a year, used to buy a big property in a nice area and still live comfortable after that 80 years ago. Now 30K a year, you can't afford a scooter. Facts, bro. Facts, man. Like some houses went from 30K to 3 million. Yeah, especially in LA, bro. Like, it was crazy out there, man. Crazy out there. And then there was one from Brother Michael I wanted to read. Like the interbank lending rate just prior to the call spiked to twice the rate that it was at the height of the 08 crisis. The money printing under the guise of the call was a temporary bailout. I believe you, bro. I believe you, bro. I give you that shout out on that one. I believe you. That makes sense. Again, that's the 1% pulling the strings, bro. Pulling the strings. And everybody's just, yeah, we're going to do this. They're pulling the strings of all your favorite politicians, man. It is what it is. I don't care what side, you know what I mean, left or right, in between, it doesn't matter. If the person is a household name, AOC, Ted Cruz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know what I'm saying? Shoot, what's the name of the little pet? The dude who I can't think of his name, out of Florida, the guy who likes little girls. He's gonna get in trouble. And all of them, like the former speaker of the House from the Democrats. You know what I mean? Like all of them are making tons of money. That's why they are there. If they're household names, they're bought and paid for, bro. Point blank, period. If they're household names, they're bought and paid for. I mean, that's just how it works. Right? That's just how it works. And they manipulate the rules so they can get the bread. Like McConnell been in DC his entire adult life. That dude came up at the tail end of the Vietnam conflict, man. He was in DC then. His entire adult life. Nancy Pelosi. How much was she worth when she got to DC, when she got there all them decades ago? How much is she worth now? Right? I'll give you a hint. It's $100,000. It's $100 million more now than she was then. It is what it is. Yeah, they're basically actors, man. That's a fact, Cody. They're just sitting there giving people what they want so they can keep those seats. You know what I mean, Brother Michael? Like, the problem is price inflation is a result of money supply expansion, which is an exponent. Sorry, bro. I'm sitting here trying to read. I got other stuff jumping up on my screen. I can't. Daggone it. There it is. Which is exponential function and not linear. This is why you can see 80 years of stability and all goes to hell in a decade. Yeah, and those numbers are going to come out really quick. Brother Michael, man, you smart as hell, man. We're going to put together that show, man. I'm going to need y'all to come up, man. We're going to put together this show to talk about what can we do to protect ourselves, our little nest eggs going into a recession, man. What should we be thinking about? What we should be doing? I'm going to hit you up, man. On that show, we dropping a link. We're going to need people to come up, man. You know what I mean? We're going to need people to come up. So let's continue.
Here's the CPI that they're referring to. And then we go down and, here's another bullet point that they don't want you to know about, or they don't want you to see. Credit card debt.
Yeah.
In the United States at an all-time high. And they say, oh, yeah, sure, well, you can't look at that. I mean, that's not adjusted for inflation. Okay, well, then let's just go ahead and look at defaults. And we see that, By the way, credit card delinquency has climbed to 3.1% at the end of 2023, the highest level in 12 years. So basically what you have is you have these Alice folks, let's just call 100 million hardworking Americans that are struggling. And there's such a delta between prices and their wages. That delta is getting worse and worse and worse to where they're getting to the point where they don't have a choice but to put things on a credit card and just hope and pray that something changes over the next 3 months. They're just buying themselves time, really. But what happens after this, or right now, is they start defaulting on the credit cards because they haven't been able to get another job. They haven't been able to get more hours. They haven't been able to make more money to pay those credit card bills, which, oh, by the way, have a much higher interest rate than they did 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, 21% and up.
And this CNBC backs up exactly what I'm saying. In the meantime, lower income households have fewer ways to reduce or change their spending habits and less savings or investment accounts to fall back on. To bridge the gap, some families are increasingly relying on credit card to cover some bills. In the past year, credit card debt spiked to all-time highs, while the personal savings rate fell and credit card delinquency rates climbed to 3.1%, like we said earlier, highest level in 12 years, according to the Fed data themselves. So the bottom line is, when we are looking at recession and recession indicators, we shouldn't just focus and hyper-focus on the unemployment rate. We have to also consider the purchasing power of the average American. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. As always, make sure that you're standing up for freedom, liberty, free market capitalism. We'll see you in the next video.
Shout out to George Gammon, bro. Man, he kept it 100, man. I'm not saying that this guy has all the answers. I'm not saying that he is some sort of leader. All I'm saying is we need to listen. We need to listen. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Brother D-Mac, I agree with you 100%. We know they're all crooks. Our job is to focus on understanding the game, get paid. I personally look forward to buying stocks at bargain prices. Yes. Yes. And the thing with crypto is supposed to do the opposite of what Wall Street does. So when Wall Street goes down, crypto is supposed to go up, and then the inverse is supposed to happen, right? When Wall Street is doing good, crypto is supposed to go down, but it's not doing that. It's kind of crazy. So, yeah, Wall Street's going to take a hit. There's going to be some companies out there. There's going to be some stocks out there at a bargain that are going to be good. And then, crypto might dip. Crypto got what Bitcoin got up to around 70,000. You know what I mean? What if Bitcoin dips down to around 5,000? I do believe that crypto eventually is going to just take off. Eventually, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum is going to take off. Although Ethereum has this thing going on right now where the government's kind of messing with it. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen to Ethereum. But crypto, there's going to be like Bitcoin, and then maybe a couple others is going to take off eventually. But I think we got to get through this downturn first. This is just some of the stuff we should be looking at. Brother D-Mac is 100% correct, man. Let's look at this game. Let's position ourselves to add a zero to our net worth during this downturn, which is, even now, the talking heads are having a hard time saying it's not coming. Right? We got some more videos we're going to go over so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But I agree with Brother D-Mac. Brother Cody's like, it's also so much worse when you factor in how much is stolen in taxes compared to the past as well. It's disgusting, man. It is what it is, man. Greed, bro. It's cream, man. Cash rules everything around us, man. Cream. Cash rules everything around me. Cream. Get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. That's Wu-Tang Clan. It looks like Wall Street finally broke into the Wu-Tang. Like, bro, it's all greed, man. It's remember when we used to help one another, man? It's like, bro, not so much anymore. He's like, I bought my house in 2009 from buying stocks at crackhead prices. Yeah, bro, like it's gonna happen, man. It's the ebb and flow. But the average person probably won't be in a position to buy stocks, and if they do, they'll buy them on credit. But you just got to figure it out, man. You just got to buy, you know what I mean? You got to buy credit. Hey, nope, crypto mirrors. You know what I mean, brother Michael? George is one of the best in the finance sphere. He's definitely in my top 5. Man, I like George Gammon, bro. I like George Gammon. I look forward to meeting him. I haven't met him yet. But you know, he rocks Refresh and feel like he's real cool with Myron Refresh. He's cool with the Valuetainment team. It's just a matter of time before I bump into him, man. I look forward to it. Brother Cody's like, whose money you think pump crypto to begin with? Right. The average man. No, bro, you're right. You're right, man. It's like Bitcoin ain't going anywhere because BlackRock says so, man. It's bro. Ethereum will most likely have an ETF made later this year. You should have Charlie and Miguel from Cryptocurrency and Dollar Cost Crypto on the. Hey, bro, I know those guys. I met them at Donovan Sharp's. He had a VIP event when he did that male masculine thing, and I met those, bro. I met Charlie. I met Miguel. Real cool. We had a great conversation. They told me to holler at them when I come to Vegas. I haven't been to Vegas yet. But they're good guys. And they're down with Myron and Fresh. Brother Viking was there. You know what I mean? So it was like plenty of cosigns that night. So they were like, yeah, man, keep in touch, bro. I got their information. And, you know, I follow them, bro. And, you know, I keep my eye on that. I'm not a big crypto guy, but at some point I'm going to have to put some money into it. You know what I mean? I'm just going to have to put some money into it, bro. So we got 2 more videos, man. It's going to be pretty quick. This one right here is just coming up 6 minutes. This is from Bloomberg Opinion. And there's a dude on here who's talking about the U.S. economy and what it means to the average American. I thought we should really check this one out, guys. I'm gonna let this one pretty much run. It's 6 minutes and 13 seconds. This blew my mind when I watched it, and it makes complete sense. You know, you guys let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Let's check this out. Uh-oh.
By all traditional measures. So why is the U.S. economy is doing great by all traditional measures? So why is everybody so mad?
How are people affording life right now?
We're not.
Now we end the week off with $27 to go the rest of the week.
We can't afford milk. We can't afford eggs. We can't afford our rent.
Like, really mad.
Can somebody explain to me in crayon eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live?
I'm Nir Kesar. I like to look at the math behind my biggest questions, and hopefully yours too.
You know, when I saw this, I know I said I want to let it run, but I don't want to get in trouble. I got to break it up to make sure that, you know, I don't get hit for saying I'm just running somebody's content. I'm not making it something new. So I want to, you know, I'm going to pause it there. When I saw this, like all those people, you don't need TikTok to find out that people are out here just trying to struggle, man. Like you go out to the bar, you go out, you know, and treat yourself, you know, to a nice dinner or something like that. And you see the people around you and everyone is counting every penny, bro. Like they get upset if they get some sort of feed that wasn't the same as the prices on the menu or that wasn't the same as advertised online. They get mad. You know what I mean? They factor in everything. People are like really watching every dime. They have to. You still want to go out and entertain yourself, man. We see it all the time. People come to the shows and like, oh, we thought this one was free. Like, oh no, it's $5. And they got to sit there and decide if they're going to come in there. It's like, hey, I'm like, yo, just go ahead. Just enjoy the show. Do me a favor. You know, make sure you tip the waitstaff or something like that. Because they're like, maybe they can't afford it. And who am I to sit there and talk crazy to them? Like, look, y'all drove all the way over here. I don't want to mess up y'all night. Y'all obviously planned it all out. Man, go in. It's on me. Don't worry about it. Go in. We want you here. $5 cover, bro. $5 cover. It was $15. It was 3 of them. And they huddled up. Like, I don't know. I'm like, $5, bro. You're not even going to you can't get into comedy anywhere on a Friday night for $5. Not in Tampa. But I was like, go ahead, man. I ate that $15. And they went in, you know, hopefully they bought an extra drink. You know what I mean? Hopefully. But you don't need TikTok to feel the pain. You know, get into an Uber and talk to the driver and they tell you how hard it is for them to actually make $1. You know, when they factor in all of the gas and maintenance and wear and tear on the car and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, bro, we're barely making any money here. I gotta make X amount of dollars. Like I'm gonna have to be out here for another 4 hours trying to break even. It's crazy out here.
A lot of people, like economists, political strategists, your favorite nightly newscaster, are trying to explain the disconnect, but they're missing something very big. I'm sure you've seen the headlines. Inflation is falling, unemployment is low, the economy is growing, and yet the vibes are off in America right now.
I got a bad vibe.
About as off as they were during the 2008 financial crisis.
I've been effectively unemployed for over a year.
And during the painful recession coupled with high inflation during the late 1970s and early 1980s.
If my cash flow were to stop right now, not only would I be out of business, but I would undoubtedly lose all this, and then I would owe maybe $250,000.
Consumer sentiment has bounced back recently, but it's still a lot closer to the low sentiment levels recorded during previous busts. Some economists are blaming heightened political divisions for putting Americans in a bad mood. Others blame the media's tendency to focus on bad news more than good. And still others point to a growing number of conflicts around the world. Those are all factors. But if you look at the data, this problem did not happen overnight. We just haven't been paying attention. The best example of this is admittedly wonky, but that's what we do here. It's the relationship between productivity growth and wage growth. The idea is that as the economy becomes more productive, businesses are able to produce more with the same or fewer resources, which makes them more money. In a healthy economy.
And this right here, man, pay attention to this, y'all. You guys probably know all about this, but wages have been stagnant for a very, very, very long time, and corporations have been experiencing record growth, record profits. So at the end of the day, it boils down to what? Greed. It boils down to greed.
Economy, those gains are shared by business owners and workers. This should be obvious. Owners get more valuable businesses and workers get higher wages and everybody's better off. In fact, from 1948 to about 1980, that's exactly what happened. Wages grew in line with productivity gains. But since then, productivity has soared while wages have barely budged, signaling that most of those gains have gone to business owners. That glaring economic inequality we see all around us, it's been 50 years in the making and counting. And since this is due to math, let me share some data that shows it. Over 80% of
I mean, we know this to be true, but no one talks about it. Not in mainstream media. You got to go over here to YouTube to get Bloomberg, somebody on Bloomberg to talk about it on YouTube, but they're not going to have this guy on, CNN. They're not going to have him on Fox. They're not going to have him on NBC. We know that the workers have been getting the shaft, you know what I mean, for the vast majority of the 80s all the way up until this point. But prior to that, it was equal. Everybody, the companies making more money, people making more money. People were loyal to their companies. They stayed with the corporation they until they retired and they got themselves a watch. Not anymore.
GDP is generated by the private sector, and public companies contribute a sizable chunk of it. We have good data on public companies back to the early 90s, and what it shows is that profit margins have soared over the past 3 decades. In 1993, margins for U.S. public companies as a group were about 4%. By 2021, they had tripled to 12%, and Wall Street analysts expect them to climb higher next year. By themselves, higher profits are great.
You know how I love money.
We should want U.S. companies to become more productive and profitable, not least because about 60% of U.S. households own stocks. And the more profitable companies become, the more these U.S. households make. But higher profits shouldn't come at the expense of squeezing workers. How badly workers are getting squeezed is hard to know exactly because, amazingly, companies aren't required to disclose how much they pay workers.
Doesn't seem right.
But what we do know does not paint a pretty picture. In fact, it suggests that tens of millions of Americans work full-time and can't afford basic necessities. Here's the math.
And that what George Gammon just said, Alice, right? Alice, I forget the exact acronym, but basically, they're working, but they can't afford to live. Hey, that's none of this stuff. This is why I wanted to show this video, man. It's not just George Gammon. People gonna say, "Oh man, tinfoil hat guy, whatever, man, doom and gloom." This is the same stuff, man. These numbers are out there. We know everything except how much corporations are paying their employees because they don't have to track that. We should track that. That's insane.
Let's start with how much Americans need to get by. There's surprising agreement on that. According to a Gallup poll last year, respondents on average estimated that a family of 4 needs at least $85,000 a year to pay for basic necessities. Keep in mind that this is just to cover the basics: housing, food, transportation, healthcare, taxes, and childcare, both parents work. It doesn't include entertainment or vacations or saving for college or retirement. According to the Economic Policy Institute, for example, a family of four needs about $97,000 a year to get by in a mid-sized city like Nashville, Tennessee. MIT pegs that number at $86,000 if one parent is working, and closer to $107,000 if two parents are working. Now,
Man, y'all seeing these numbers in Nashville? Imagine what it is in LA, San Diego, New York. Imagine what it is in DC, Atlanta. Family of four, man. That's a couple with two kids. Mom, dad, Billy, and Susie. Family of four. Goes back to what George Gammon was saying. Alice.
now comes the harder question. Based on those numbers, how many full-time workers make enough money to support a family of four? The reason that's difficult to answer is that the government reports limited wage data, so we can only approximate how many American workers fall short. But even the estimate is pretty jarring. There are about 109 million full-time U.S. workers ages 25 and over, and their median pay is $1,190 a week. Assuming 52 weeks a year, that translates into an income of $62,000 a year, meaning that half of workers make less than that. Using the same math and available data, we also know the annual income at the 75th percentile is about $98,000, meaning that 3/4 of workers make less than that. If we then draw a straight line between the median and 75th percentile income, and we assume that a family of four needs $86,000 a year just to cover necessities, which is the lower of MIT and EPI's estimate, we can approximate that 67% of those 109 million full-time workers would not be able to raise a family of four with one adult working.
What is happening to the world?
And the number.
None of this stuff goes unwatched, unchecked, unmeasured. None of it. But no one talks about it. And if you bring it up, you're a kook. Everyone's talking about how great the American economy is. Oh, the American economy is great. The vast majority of Americans are drowning. They're drowning in debt. They can't work any harder. And even if they could, they wouldn't be able to make enough money to meet the basics. What do you think about that, man? The basics.
Numbers aren't much better if two parents are working. If a family of four with two working adults needs $107,000 of combined income a year, as MIT estimates, 39% of full-time workers would fall short of that mark, which is more than 42 million workers.
Damn.
It's no wonder so many Americans are unhappy with the economy. So how do we fix this? A good start would be to require public companies to disclose how much they pay workers. It would make a huge difference. It would allow investors to evaluate which companies are investing in their workforce and which ones are neglecting them. It would give workers and private businesses a benchmark to evaluate their own wages. And maybe most important of all, it would give us the information we need to know exactly how many workers need more help. We can keep scratching our heads, or we can look at the numbers staring us in the face and finally accept that broad economic numbers no longer reflect the experience of tens of millions of working Americans.
Man, shout out to that brother right there. Shout out to that brother, man. Whew. This is the problem, right? America's just, this is the problem. And where's all that money going, man? It's going to the corporation, man. It all stems from greed. It's going to the corporations. It is what it is. The profit lies in labor and how, can we keep our labor costs down and can we fire people? AI is coming. What do you think artificial intelligence is going to do to the American labor force? What do you think it's going to do to all these paralegals and all these attorneys? What do you think it's going to do? Right, it's going to put some doctors out of business. What do you think it's going to do to the white collar jobs out there that everybody wants? They covet those jobs. Blue collar is going to get to them, but not right away. But it's those white collar jobs, man. Those people about to get kabombed right across the face, and they can barely make it as is. They're going to lose that $90,000, $105,000 a year job, and how are they going to make that money up? Go be a manager at Walmart or Target and drive Uber? Start a YouTube channel? Like, how are you going to make up that money? Go have your wife go to work. She's already working, and she got laid off too because y'all met on the job. This is the problem. Like this is definitely the problem. I got one more video and then I'm out. You know what I mean? This kind of works out pretty good. I was hoping. right? I want to close out. We started with Sister Danielle DiMartino Booth, and I want to close out with her. This was from yesterday. She posted it today, but I think she actually did this yesterday. Again, Fox Business. She was talking with Neil Cavuto, something like that, and she has another talking head next to her. And I wanted to end with this because at the very end, pay attention to her and Neil and their back and forth and what they're talking about. And I think it's the perfect contrast between mainstream media and those people out there who are seeking the truth, and those people out there who are looking at the real numbers, who are doing the work. So, hey, I think this is really cool. Check this out. Oh man.
A not so happy meal. All right, thank you for that, Stuart. Well, it is lunchtime, at least on the East Coast of America, and a not so happy meal to report, my friends. I want you to think quick on this one. What do McDonald's customers have to do with today's sell-off? Now, what if I told you they're not buying, and that's got a lot of investors just selling? And here's why. Seems those value meals don't represent as much value as McDonald's CEO had hoped, especially when you're plunking down $18 for a Big Mac meal in some places. Not worth it. So more customers are simply not doing it. And that is a problem, because if this is some sign the consumer is retrenching, start worrying. Again, this isn't a sweeping sign, just one. Now, one company does not define a whole market, or burgers going bust, a sign the economy is going bust. But the timing of this is a tad weird, given the fact the Fed is kicking off a two-day meeting where it is expected to hold pat on rates for the sixth straight time. What they're wrestling with is a consumer pausing in the face of prices jumping. So it's food for thought. Have we all had our fill? Those are the analogies that I pushed for every burger reference I could. Welcome, everybody. We got Market Pros Kenny Polcari and Danielle DiMartino Booth. We'll be identifying their fine skills in just a second. But, let me ask you about that, Kenny, this notion that McDonald's might be hinting of something going on with the consumer.
I think it's more than a hint. I think it speaks to the pressure that the consumer is feeling. And to your point, $18 for a value meal is not very economical for, a family that might typically want to go to McDonald's. If that's $18 for one meal and you get 3 or 4 kids, suddenly it's, you're spending $70 by the time you buy, the Cokes and all that stuff at McDonald's. For a value meal.
See, Danielle, McDonald's is a fast food place.
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't start with Shay.
It doesn't have a tassel menu on it. But what do you make of that? I mean, we see plenty of examples where the consumer is not retrenching, but on the lower end, I'm beginning to wonder whether we're starting to see hiccups.
Oh, we're definitely starting to see hiccups. I mean, you name it, whether it's Walmart or the Dollar Generals of the world, or it's McDonald's, all of these CEOs who run these companies are like, well, gee, we've got higher income people frequenting our establishment, our store. I'm like, okay, so where are the lower income people?
Right.
Where did they go? Because if you've got people trading down to Walmart, that's a sign that, at QI Research, we parse out what's called non-discretionary inflation. These are things over which the Federal Reserve has zero control. Healthcare, automobile insurance, food, energy. The Fed has no sway. The Federal Reserve has no sway over these prices, and yet it's running at 4.7% year over year. Working men and women are being just slaughtered by the things over which the Fed and they have no control.
Now, and again, like this, even the talking heads on mainstream media, this is Fox Business, this is Neil Cavuto. This guy's he's an icon in the field. Now this word is getting out. Now, I'm pretty sure people don't make their money and whatnot, but it just strikes me, a certain way right now where, Danielle DiMartino Booth is out here leading the charge. George Gammon is doing his thing. They bring him on every now and again. You got Valuetainment, Patrick Bet-David and his people over there. They've been screaming this stuff for a year and a half now. Brother Cribby in the building. What's good, fam? You're showing loyalty to your homies, man. You show loyalty to me, I show loyalty to you, man. You know how that works, bro. Good to see you, man. I'm so glad you're here. Let's continue.
The Federal Reserve, it's going to wrap up a 2-day meeting tomorrow. They're expected not to move on rates, I guess. But they could signal concerns about what I just mentioned. What do you think?
I think they should signal concerns about what they mentioned, because it's clear now we've had 3 months of month-over-month trending higher inflation. So I think you can't hide it anymore. It is what it is. And look, the Fed's not doing anything tomorrow. They're not doing anything in June, not doing anything in July.
Really?
There's no August meeting. So now they're
What if there's no cut at all this year?
Well, I don't think there is going to be a cut. I'm going to camp that there shouldn't be a cut.
Really? Okay.
No. We have empirical evidence shows that when the misery index is going up, right? We found out that we actually had negative. We had job losses in the third quarter of 2023 after revisions. When people are losing their jobs at the pace at which they are, and inflation over which the Fed has no control is rising, the Fed should be leaning against the wind and lowering interest rates and providing relief to the lower income earners. Absolutely.
Do you think the next move? By the way,
I didn't say that that's what they were going to do. I said that that's what they should be doing.
Okay.
Right? You hear what she said? She's like, I didn't say that's what they're going to do, but that's what they should be doing. She knows the numbers. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. She ain't got a dog in this fight. She's rich, right? She knows what's going on. She's just trying to let people know, hey, here go the revised numbers. Neil didn't like that. Pay close attention to what Neil says now. He didn't like that revised number. Pay close attention to this back and forth right here.
No, I was prescient enough to see this, that the Fed wouldn't move at all on rate. Now, of course, I also said last year the Yankees would win it all. So
well, I say that every year.
Not that in a thousand. But let me get your take, guys, on just because I think it does come back, even though I keep forcing this McDonald's thing to the consumer, what he or she is inclined to do.
Right.
Now, we're at all price points, they're not the same, and I get that. But it's up to the consumer to keep this going. What if he or she can't?
That's right. And it's up to consumer to either yes or no. At some point, they're going to start to choke. And I think we're getting closer to that point. But to Danielle's point, should the Fed be cutting rates? And if they do, what's that going to do to inflation? Because I think inflation's starting to turn up again. They cut rates, become stimulative, and then inflation starts to take off again. So they're in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. They are between a rock and a hard place, but the consumer confidence data that we saw come out this morning, everybody's intentions for buying things like a car or a major appliance or a home, they're all completely collapsing. We saw data come out of the Chicago manufacturing sector this morning that is unlike anything we've seen since the great financial crisis, meaning households are not buying things that they want to buy.
But we'll still have a very strong employment report likely on Friday.
Well, of course we will, and it's going to be revised away. And I think that people are wise to that. We've had about 120,000 layoffs announced in the month of April, which seasonally is a very kind month. Normally the henchmen and henchwomen come in January, but we've already had announced layoffs surpass that of what we saw in January.
All is said, net job gains.
Not after revisions, Neil.
No, that's not true.
Oh, but it is.
Oh, no, I think you lied.
Y'all see that? Y'all see they were like, no, it's still positive, still net job growth. She's like, not after revisions. And he's like, no, they're being funny, whatever. She's keeping it light, like, oh, you're lying to me. He's like, no, I'm not lying to you. Go read the revisions. This is Fox Business. The other black dudes on Fox Business too. The black dudes have been talking about downward revisions and been talking about this for a very long time. But Neil's more of the mainstream guy, right? He's the pillar. And Neil's like, hold on now. The economy's still good, right? We still have net job gains. Like, no, we don't. No, we don't. And Danielle DiMartino Booth isn't even talking about the people who've been laid off, but they're getting a severance package. When you've been laid off and they give you a severance package, so you're still getting paid for the 8 months or so until it's official that you ain't got a job no more, they count you as having a job and they count you as not having a job. You see how the smoke and mirrors start to come into play. If they call the employee, he's like, yeah, I don't have a job, I'm laid off. But he's still getting paid. They call the corporation and ask about that same guy. The corporation like, nah, he's still on the books. We're still paying him. He's still an employee. We're counting him. Right? So do you see where that kind of Neil's like, oh, no. I mean, there's fun here. There's banter back and forth. But Danielle DiMartino Booth, shout out to her. Sticking to her guns.
Wow. Oh, my mother begs to differ, and she's watching.
You're still up a lot. Right?
No, not after revisions. They're not. That's my point. And what we hear on Friday morning, that's 700,000 surveyed.
Right.
The revisions that we've received back are 11.9 million.
You're feeding your own argument with the data you choose.
It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics that tells us after the fact.
I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say.
Man, what's she hitting with? It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's where I'm getting my numbers from. But what is he saying? No. America's watching. America's watching. The economy is good. You're making up numbers. I ain't making up numbers. I'm taking numbers from the government. They revised the numbers that you're holding on to. They revised them down. The real numbers show job losses, and inflation is still going up. This is what I'm talking about right here. Brother Cody, like, yeah, man, he called her a liar, bro. He did. People are ignorant when it comes to the crypto. They think that it's about Bitcoin or Ethereum. They have zero clue what they use Ethereum for. And Brother Mac, you're right, bro. D Mac, you're absolutely right, man. I'm definitely not the crypto dude. I'm down the road. You can plan on seeing some of these crypto folks. We'll do an episode or two and talk about crypto. We'll get Miguel and Charlie hopefully to come in here. Probably not both at the same time, at one and then maybe the other. Because I'm going to want a lot of information before I start, taking, some of my pennies and putting them over into crypto. You got to figure out about the wallets, and you got to figure about, what platforms do you, I mean, there's a lot that I don't know about. I know about the cold wallets. I know about, being able to remove your wallet from the blockchain and hold on to it and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know it. I'm familiar with it, but I don't know it. So we're going to definitely get into that. But I just wanted to point that last part out right there, bro. Danielle DiMartino Booth is facing the mainstream media and Neil Cavoto, like he's one of the guys, one of the gatekeepers, and she's saying no. After the revised numbers, no, we don't have, our jobs aren't up. Like, and employment isn't up. Employment is actually down. GDP isn't up. GDP is actually down. You know what I mean? Consumer confidence isn't up. Consumer confidence is actually down after you look at the revised numbers. That's all she was trying. That's the point she made. I thought that was really good. I wanted to end with that. I wanted y'all to see that. Do you see what's going on? There is a fight for information, for the truth, for how do you analyze these numbers? And old boy's like, oh, you're lying. She's like, no, oh, you're trying to fit your own narrative. Like, this comes from the government. These are the numbers the government are giving us. I ain't get this from, some random YouTuber somewhere. I ain't get this from some, tinfoil hat wearing dude. This is from the United States government. So what other numbers do we need to look at? You know what I mean? Like, and Brother Penny's like, Charlie does technical analysis and Miguel focuses on fundamental analysis. Oh, okay. I think that's what you mean. Focuses fundamental analysis. Yeah, I'm gonna hit them up. Those are cool dudes, man. Charlie and Miguel are real cool, man. I met them. I like to, that's my thing, man. I like to get out there and meet folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look forward to the day I get to shake hands with Brother Cody is King and D Mac and you, Brother Pitney. You know what I mean? I look forward to going to New York and hollering at Based Oracle. I can't wait. See that brother man to man. You know what I mean? Like, what's good? You know what I'm saying? I want to meet folks so we could say we know each other, as opposed to like, oh, YouTube friends. Oh, we're in the YouTube streets, man. I won't see you in real life, bro. But hey, man, I hope you guys enjoyed that show. We're going to leave it right there. America's in trouble, bro. Recession or no recession, that is the question. I think that Sister Danielle DiMartino Booth and Brother George Gammon answered that for us. Absolutely recession. Danielle DiMartino Booth said we've been in recession for months now. So is George Gammon, based on the numbers. All right, so we're going to leave it right there, man. I hope y'all enjoyed that, bro. I know I enjoyed having y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for the donations, man. I really appreciate it. We got almost all of our subs back, y'all. All of our subs back. I think we're down to like 20 subs, 20 more subs. When they took the subs, they took 150 subs. We had 1,830. Now we have like 1,802, something like that, or 4 or something like that. So we almost got them all the way back. We're going to get the rest. Man. I still don't know what happened with that. I don't know why YouTube did me like they did. Snatched 150 subscribers just like that. But hey, we bouncing back, y'all. We going to shake back and get it done right, man. Brother Cody is King. Watch out for scams and propaganda with crypto. Most of it isn't worth the energy used to display its value. You got to watch out. It's a new technology. I do believe the crypto is definitely here to stay. And it may be moving forward. I think it may be, it's definitely going to contend with paper money. It might be the wave of the future, bro. It just may be. It's just that the central banks can't control it. So once they figure out a way to control it, and you're going to have central bank digital currencies, like America and Canada and Australia and wherever else, Germany. Once you have that, now we got a whole new bag of issues. But always be on the lookout for scams, y'all, especially now. It's hard out here in these trenches, guys. People are starving right now. People are losing it right now. You see what they're doing to the police, man. They busting at the police for nothing. They don't even seem to care right now. This is just the beginning, right? Like I've been saying this for months now. You're going to see home invasions go up. You're going to see carjackings go up. You're going to see muggings go up. You're going to see armed robberies go up. This is the thing. When people are starving, they are going to eat. This is basic street stuff. I'm telling you right now. Be careful. Be careful. It's going to be more and more phishing schemes. You're going to have more and more people calling you saying, oh, there's some funky activity with your bank account, or there's some funky activity with your Amazon account. Be very, very leery of that. Don't hit those links from numbers you don't recognize. Call your bank. If someone says there's something wrong with your bank account and asking about transactions, don't hit the link. Call the bank. You call the bank. Don't hit that link. Right? Be careful. Take extra steps to protect yourself, man. These people are out here, man. They hungry. This is what happens when people get hungry. This is just the beginning, guys. This is just the beginning. More and more folks are going to get laid off. It's going to be harder and harder to get these jobs, working at restaurants and doing whatever, because people are getting laid off and they're more qualified. They're going to come and take these jobs. They're hustlers, man. So it's not enough jobs for everybody, bro. So be careful. Be careful. They're coming after you, man. These people are hungry out here. They're coming after you. They're sophisticated. It ain't just the Nigerians neither, right? It's Pookie and Ray Ray right down is you know what I'm saying? It's Junebug in them right down the street. It's Skylar in them right down the street. These young kids, man, they get your phone like, oh, go ahead and just put the here, let me do that for you. I'll just put it right in. They'll get in there, get in your cash app and start sending themselves money. You think they're helping you out? Like, oh, can you donate to my football scholarship fund or whatever? And you give them the phone because, just boom, boom, boom. They're right into your cash app. Don't be giving your phone up to strangers, y'all. You know what I mean? You're going to give somebody some money. Go ahead. That's fine. You want support. But you type that stuff in there. Don't give your phone to no stranger. Not even a little kid, man. They'll get in there and take your money, bro. They'll get into your purse, take your phone. You know what I mean? Figure out how to get into that phone. If it ain't locked, send themselves some money and put it back in your purse. You won't even know what happened. You know what I mean? So be careful out there. Be careful. Appreciate that, D-Mac. You know what I mean? Yeah, new technology does bring out scammers, man. I appreciate that. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit more about what's going on with the finances, man. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about, I said this a long time ago, whenever times get hard, and I think we're about to get into some hard times, I always go talk to my girls, my exotic dancer friends, my stripper friends, and I ask them what's going on in the club, what the money looked like. I always use them as my canary in the coal mine. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I found a video when someone actually talked about this and was actually trying to find that data that correlates this, right? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that tomorrow, guys. Be looking for the thumbnail. But y'all think I'm playing. The money changes. And the girls, the strippers, they can tell you, man, the money changes. And when the money goes from the Wall Street guys, from the white collar guys, right? And then the blue collar guys disappear because they can't come in. They ain't got no money no more. But you know who's spending money now? It's the street dudes. Why? Because people are losing their jobs. They're self-medicating. They're going out here getting their favorite whatever so they can forget their problems. The money shifts from Wall Street to the street, to Main Street. And these dudes out here getting it. And these girls are sitting there, strippers are very intuitive, bro. They are plugged in. And they're like, yeah, man, the money is drying up from the corporate guys, but these street dudes are coming in here, dropping a bag, right? So that tells me all I need to know. Like, okay, street dudes are doing their thing, and crime is going to be up. But they out here, people self-medicating. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. He's like, you're not going to do a panel on last night's show? Nah, man, I talked about that at the beginning of this show. I actually got to go and I got to get ready. I got a show. A buddy of mine does a show out of Texas. I'm going to be on his panel. What we know. So can I get a podcast? Let me make sure. Hold on. Let me make sure I give y'all the right information. I'm on there tonight. And it is, can I get some podcasts? My dude Dame is over there. He asked me to come over and be on this show tonight. They start at 9:00 Standard, which is 10 o'clock Eastern. I got a couple things I need to do before that show. Take care of a couple things. Make sure my daughter's squared away and all that before I jump on that show, bro. So now, but probably Saturday, man. Saturday night, bro, I might do a drunk scene episode, man. We can talk about what happened over there, bro. We can talk about what happened on that panel last night. But we started the show off talking about it, man. I appreciate you coming through. You and brother Pitney, y'all was with me, bro. We was, like I said, we was shoulder to shoulder, back to back. You know what I mean? Fending it off. Like, yo, we was in there making it happen, bro. I ain't gonna lie, it was cool. It was cool. I walked in there like, uh-oh. But like I said, it worked out, man. We made some new friends over there, bro. And we're gonna keep it popping. We're gonna get out here and try to help some of these young folks out here, try to help some of these old folks out here in these streets trying to figure things out, man. So I gotta run. I appreciate y'all rocking out with me. Thanks again so much for all of the donations, man. I really do appreciate it. We're gonna keep this rocking, man. Brother D-Mac, man. Brother Pitney, we're gonna keep this rocking, man. We're gonna keep doing the financial shows. I'll see y'all tomorrow talking about the canaries in the coal mine. We're gonna be talking about the canaries in the coal mine, these strippers and what they got to say, you know what I mean? And then Brother Cuddy was like, good luck, peace, man. I appreciate that, man. It's gonna be fun tonight. Tonight's gonna be an easy show. I'm not walking into I'm not walking into contact. It's gonna be an easy show. Got some OGs on there. We're gonna be talking about what we're talking about. So appreciate y'all rocking out with me, man. I'm DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast, man. We'll talk to y'all later. Remember, revise numbers. As for the revisions, guys, we out of here. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.